Hello, I'm Jashikins, and welcome to another episode of Jash Reads. And this will be the final video of the evening. And I'm drinking some coffee just so I get a little more energy to do this. Because believe it or not, beyond this YouTube channel, I have a life. A pathetic life, but it's a life. Okay, so let's continue reading Animorphs number 5, The Predator by K.A. Applegate. Stop! A cop yelled. I'm ordering you to halt. But Axe wasn't interested in halting. He was panicked. A woman stepped out of the body shop holding a bag full of colorful jars. Axe plowed into her. The bag went flying. The stalks began to grow out of the top of his head. The extra eyes appeared on the ends and turned backwards to watch the people chasing them. Jake and I were two of those people. We were ahead of the cops, but not by much. Fortunately, I guess the cops assumed we were just idiots running along for fun. I could hear one of the cops yelling into his walkie-talkie. Cut him off at the east entrance. Legs began to grow from the chest of Axe's human morph. His own front legs, small at first but growing rapidly. It was slowing down as his human legs began to change. The knees were reversing direction, his spine elongated into the beginnings of a tail. That's when the screaming started. Ah! What is it? What is it? People were screaming and running and dropping their bags as they caught a glimpse of the nightmare creature Axe had become. Half human, half Andalite. A fluid, shifting mess of half-formed features. I couldn't blame them. I felt like screaming myself. We were getting near the exit, racing past the shoe repair place. Suddenly, Axe fell forward, tangled up in his own mutating legs. He skidded down the polished marble floor. Most of the crowd had been left behind, but the mall police were still with us. You kids, get out of the way! One of them yelled at us. This guy could be dangerous. Axe sprang up. He was much more sure of himself, now that he was on his 4 Andalite hooves. The morph was almost entirely complete. His mouth was gone. His extra eyes were in place. His 2 arms and 4 legs were fully formed. Then, at the very last, the tail appeared. It was then that I heard the nearest mall cop in an odd, frightened whisper say, Andalite. I quickly turned and looked at him. Only a controller would recognize an Andalite. The controller cop drew his gun from his holster. Run! I yelled at Axe. The controller stood between Axe and the door. Big mistake. The Andalite tail flashed faster than my eyes could follow. The cop's gun went flying through the air. He clutched at a hand that was red with blood. Out the door we flew, running for our lives. Sirens! Those are real cops coming, I said. Not all rent-a-cops. Where should we go? Axe demanded, reverting to thought speak. Oh, now he wants advice? I looked around frantically. The bus was not going to be an option. The mall cops poured from the glass doors. The city police screamed toward us in their black and whites. All we could do was run. So we ran, up rows of parked cars. 2 kids and a guy who did not belong on this planet. The grocery store! Jake yelled. What? I gasped. I was getting tired. In there! He pointed. It was the grocery store across from the parking lot. Across the parking lot. It was the only way we could go. Police cars screeched to halt around us. Freeze! I don't think so, I said. We jetted through the big glass doors of the supermarket at a full, panicked run. I halfway expected to hear guns firing and bullets whizzing. Jake! I yelled. Help me here! I had an idea for slowing down our pursuers. I grabbed a big row of parked grocery carts and shoved them back towards the door. Jake grabbed on and helped. Then we were off and running again, with Axe skittering shakily on the slippery floor and banging into groceries. Cans of olives and tomatoes crashed behind him. Customers screamed and crashed their carts into each other. It's a monster! Mommy, it's a monster! Some little kid yelled. It's just a pretend monster, his mother said. Yeah, a pretend monster. Right. Then I saw our way out. It was at the end of the aisle. I needed some time. I needed to get everyone out of our way. We couldn't have witnesses. There's a bomb! I screamed at the top of my lungs. Bomb! What? Jake demanded. There's a bomb! A bomb in the store! Run, run, everyone out! A bomb! What are you doing? Jake yelled. The cops had the place surrounded. There's only one way out. I snapped. I pointed. I pointed at the live lobster tank at the end of the aisle by the seafood counter. Oh no! Jake groaned. Oh yes. I grinned. The shoppers were running in panic, either from the supposed bomb or just from Axe. But the baskets in the doorway and the people shoving to escape slowed the cops down for a precious few moments. I had a feeling the controller cops were making sure that no real cops came in after us. They wanted us for themselves. With no human witnesses. Let's go for a swim, I said. It was a big lobster tank. Fortunately, I hoisted myself up the side and climbed in. Jake was right beside me. We each grabbed a lobster and threw one to Axe. It was not easy acquiring the lobster. It took concentration, and all I could think was that there was an awful lot of cops outside the store, probably getting ready to rush in. And they would all have guns. Lobster went limp and passive, the way animals do when you acquire them. I dropped him back in the water. We stripped off our outer clothes and shoes and stuffed them along with the Radio Shack bag in a trash can. Axe had already begun to morph. Jake and I waited till he had shrunk a little and then hauled him into the tank with us. It was already hard, like armor, and his arms had begun to split open and swell. Then I began the morph. I've been afraid a lot since we became Animorphs. I have not gotten used to it. And I can tell you, I was so scared of my bones rattling. At any second, they were going to rush in. At any moment, they were going to catch us half morphed. I looked over at Jake. His eyes were gone, replaced by little black BBs. Ooh! As I watched, as I watched, 8 spinally blue insect-like eggs erupted from his chest. Ah! I yelped in shock. Jake's face seemed to open up, to split open into a complex mix of vowels. I think I would have thrown up seeing that, except that I also no longer had a mouth. At that very moment, I felt antennae explode from my forehead like impossibly long spears. I was shrinking as I morphed, falling, falling down into the water which had been around my thighs and was now around my neck. I had the terrifying sensation of knowing that all the bones inside my body were dissolving as a hard, fingernail-like crust covered me all over. My body was melting away. My human vision was fading. I could no longer see the way a human sees, which was a good thing, because I really did not want to see what I was becoming. I think I might have just started screaming and never stopped. But I no longer had a mouth, or throat, or vocal cords capable of making sounds. I had 4 sets of legs. I had 2 huge pincers. I could see them. Kind of. They were a fractured image of my lobster eyes. I couldn't see much of the rest of me, but I could see other lobsters in the water. I was very frightened. Eat! Eat! Kill and eat! A lobster brain surfaced suddenly, bubbling up within my own human awareness. It had 2 thoughts. Eat! Eat! Kill and eat! I was getting input from senses I couldn't begin to understand. My extraordinary long antennae felt water temperature and water current and vibration, but I didn't know what any of it meant. My eyes were almost useless at first. They showed fractured, incredible images with none of the colors I knew. I could see my pincers out in front of me. I could see my antennae. And behind me, I could see a curved, brownish blue surface with humps and bumps on it. My body, I realized with a sickening sensation. That was my back, my hard shell. I could not look down and see my belly or the hairy swimmerets scurrying away. But beneath my tail, I could not see my 8 spider-like legs, but I could feel as they propelled me suddenly, scrambling along the glass bottom of the tank. Jake, I called out. Yeah, I'm here, he said. He sounded shaky, which was fine because I was on the verge of crying. If lobsters could cry. You okay? Yeah, this is not my favorite morph, though. No, I agreed. It was good being able to talk to him. I mean, you'd think you were losing your mind otherwise. Axe? Jake called. I I feel I am hungry. This animal wants to eat. Axe answered. Yeah, well, that's pretty normal for morphs. I said, most animals care about food and not much else. I don't think lobsters are exactly geniuses. Who wants to find prey? Ax said wonderingly. I know. Who'd have figured lobsters were predators? I said. It's easier to deal with a predator brain than with prey. That prey fear can be overwhelming, Jake said. I saw a lobster close by. Is that you, Jake? Wiggle your left pincer. Left pincer did not move. I realized this lobster had a rubber band around his pincer. None of us had rubber bands. Rubber bands were not a part of the lobster DNA. I saw a lobster to my left, unbanded, another beside him. This was the three of us. There were half a dozen rubber-banded lobsters floating or just sitting. Speaking of fear, I said, can anyone see out of the tank? Just shadows, Jake said. These are pathetic eyes. Yes, even worse than your human eyes, Max commented. This is really creepy, I said. I've never had an exoskeleton before. These pincers are most excellent, though, Max said. I saw him opening and closing them. Axe, Jake said. You say you can keep track of time accurately? Start tracking. Yes, Prince Jake, Axe said. So far, 10 of your minutes have passed. That much? I was surprised. 10 minutes? The cops must have come in by now. I was thinking the same thing, Jake said. We better wait as long as we can. Close to the full 2 hours, I said. Although I really don't want to spend any more time than I have to in this creepy morph. And that's the end of this chapter. I'm sorry if I tried to keep with what I did during practice and what I liked during practice, but with the me being tired, I think that really allowed some parts to slip. So I actually made noticeable mistakes in tone. I am extremely sorry. I'm just like with coffee. I've been like sipping on coffee and it's not doing anything for me. But I still have to water the plants. Yeah. So still have shit to do. And yeah. Okay, back to this chapter. Sorry, I got distracted. Just Axe is just a kid. But I don't know why he would go, okay, I'm going to run away. No, hang on. Like, this thought process, like, sorry, I'm just like stumbling over words, but this really fucking confuses me. It's like, I am an alien on an alien planet. I am a stranger in a strange land. I know that it will be a bad idea if anyone sees me. So I should not, fucking demorph. I also know that it would be very smart to have natives show me around so I don't get into trouble. I should stay with these natives so that things don't go wrong. Like some basic things. Yeah, I tried to get some terror into the lobster morph. I don't really find it that terrifying. I mean, I consider the situation around them requiring it terrifying, but still, it's like, okay. was like, yeah. I'm like, okay, the morph itself isn't that bad. But I will say, okay, while I was practicing, I was starting to get hungry, and I was practicing this chapter and getting to the part where they acquired lobsters, and I was thinking, you know what? Lobster would be good around now. And then I just stare. I have to pause for a good, think minute or two going, what the fuck, Jash? I mean, seriously, what the fuck were you thinking? Stop that train of thought. Yeah. I don't know. I don't know why I think the things they do at times. If you do want to discuss this chapter with me, please comment down below. And yeah, we can start a nice little conversation. If you do want to talk major spoilers with me, and you're watching on the YouTubes, link in the description to my Tumblr Ask box. Oh god. Let's see. If you do want to buy your own copy of Animorphs number 5, The Predator by K. Applegate, if you're watching on the YouTubes, link in the description. If you're watching on my bloggity blog, link down below. Both links will take you to where you can purchase your very own copy. Please like this video, subscribe to this YouTube channel. If you're watching on my blog, on my bloggity blog, and watching this on the desktop version of my bloggity blog, please, choose the follow by email option. Now, usually I would continue with this episode, with this end credits, but honestly, I'm so fucking tired. I can't continue, and I still have to water my plants, and then I also have to post links. So yeah, I'm sorry. But anyways, next video will be more of Animorphs number 5, The Predator, and that will be released on Monday. Again, the next video will be released on Monday and will be more of Animorphs number 5, The Predator. Goodbye, and I hope to be more awake next time.